A little boy living in Chicago was murdered by his own gang members because they thought he was attracting too much attention, and they were afraid he would become an informant, a snitch. This picture in particular was used as a war cry of sorts, even used by rapper Tupac Shakur, with Tupac even dedicating his song Young to Yummy Sandifer. Yummy Sandifer became a symbol of the gang problem in American inner cities, the failure of social safety nets, and the shortcomings of the juvenile justice system. Hey friends, I'm Xavier, and I am back with another Black Case file for you today. Yep, still sick, and my face is still swollen, sinus infections, still living on a leave, cold and sinus, and Tylenol extra strength. Anyways, typically I talk about cases that tend to focus on people of color, and the topics will vary. I mean, sometimes I'm talking about murder, sometimes history, sometimes mystery, sometimes conspiracy. Sometimes a murder mystery conspiracy from history. Anyways, if you like this content, make sure to hit that like and that lovely red subscribe button. You can also find me on Instagram at The Black Case Files and on TikTok also at The Black Case Files. I don't mess with Twitter. Lastly, I have a little playlist that I add all of these to that should be showing up right there. Binge it, have fun, enjoy. Okay. Now, today we are talking about the little boy who became the face of inner city violence and the failures of the juvenile justice system, Robert Sandifer. Robert Sandifer was born March 12, 1982 and was killed September 1st, 1994. Robert, or Yummy as he was known, was just 11 years old. Due to his young age and his involvement in gang life in Chicago, he became a face to put to the increasing violence that was surging through Chicago. Born in Chicago, his life started with turmoil. I mean, his mother, she had a string of drug-related arrests as well as prostitution, and his father was incarcerated throughout his life for a felony drug charge. In addition, Yummy was consistently involved with the Department of Child Services for the alleged physical abuse. His body bore dozens of scars from tortures and beatings, a total of 49 according to his autopsy report, including cigarette burns on his butt, neck, and arms, and snake-like wounds from the electric cord whippings. Due to this, he was sent to live with his grandmother, which wasn't really much better, as it was reported that she had as many as 19, and I've also heard reports up to 30 children living in her home at one time. Also, just as a side note, the reason that a child will be placed with another family member is to cure the issues that had the Department of Child and Family Services involved. In this case, due to the physical abuse, the cure would be to place him elsewhere, and in this case, it would be with his grandmother. Around 1990, when Yummy was around 8, he essentially dropped out of school and began kind of roaming the streets of his neighborhood, and he began committing crimes such as breaking and entering, petty thefts, and even stealing cars. Over the course of 2 years, he graduated to more serious crimes such as armed robbery. Just to kind of remind ourselves, this was a 10-year-old boy who is essentially roaming the streets, and he doesn't have the support available to him that would be conducive to his growing and living as a law-abiding citizen. So let's pause here. What does this mean? A little boy is out roaming the streets seeking some sort of support. A child, which is what he was, is going to seek validation and safety through any means. In this case, the people who offered that validation and safety happened to be in the Black disciples. It wasn't clear when Yummy became a member, but if I had to guess, It was probably around when he was 8, and he began committing the small crimes, the petty thefts, the car thefts, etc. In another video, I talked about Cabrini Green and some of the issues surrounding that area. And as I said in those videos, those were not small issues, and they all worked to create an environment where people had to create their own safety. The police, they certainly weren't doing it. And a lot of times it was the gangs who acted as a de facto enforcement of law and order, if you will. So with that, a boy is out essentially on his own, living in a crowded home, starting the process of becoming lost in the system. And he has now joined the Black Disciples. Like I mentioned earlier, wow, even more people came to know him through Tupac Shakur. Tupac in a conversation was recorded saying, "I went out there. They be looking out for me," he said. "The one set wants me to be down with them. The Black Stones want me to be with them. GDs want me to be with them." I had a run on with them in Milwaukee because that was when that little kid died, Yummy Sandifer. I did a show the next day after they killed that kid because you heard what happened, right? They executed him. I was out there when I did the show. The gang was in the fucking audience. The whole gang has bought out the stadium. So I'm rapping to the that just killed this kid. And they all screaming out, "Thug life." I felt bad that they got it twisted. So I started cussing out. "Y'all cowards. Y'all killed that kid. Y'all punks. I hate all." Then started throwing shit. We had a shootout in the stadium. It was tough, man. The whole gang tore up the whole neighborhood. Then I started getting letters from that area with all the mothers, the girls. It was like, "Thank you for doing that because everybody's scared of these." That's what I want to do. If these gangs ain't gonna get straight, then I want to take them out the game. Because if they don't, it's gonna make it tougher on us. That was from a conversation that he had. So this reminds me of a couple of quotes. One is actually from Tupac Shakur from his song "Dear Mama." I'm gonna play a small. The other quote I'm reminded of is actually from the book Utopia by Sir Thomas More. "For if you suffer your people to be ill-educated and their manners to be corrupted from their infancy, and then punish them for those crimes to which their first education disposed them, what else is to be concluded from this but that you first make thieves and then punish them?" So in other words, this government creates criminals and then punishes them. Just a little food for thought. Okay, back to Yummy. Yummy was judged too young and too vulnerable for confinement to juvenile home, so he was released time and again back to his overwhelmed grandmother, who I already said is a chaotic household. There were like anywhere from 19 to 30 children at a time. These are grandchildren at a time. Approximately about a year before he was killed, he was removed from his grandmother's care and placed in DCFS shelter Lawrence Hall. Yummy ran away and he never returned. It was during this unknown year, as I'm probably going to refer to it, that the crime that would lead to his own death was committed. On August 28, 1994, Yummy opened fire with a 9mm semi-automatic pistol in order to satisfy a request made by his gang. The bullet struck several people, one of them, Siobhan Dean, fatally. Due to the stray bullet hitting an innocent bystander, the gang became worried that Yummy would snitch. So the gang began taking steps to eliminate that problem. The gang tasked another member, Craig Hardaway, who was 16, with taking care of the problem. You remember, the problem is Yummy. So in the meantime, Yummy went into hiding right after the shooting for approximately about 3 days. And it was on August 31st that Yummy got into an Oldsmobile that was driven by Craig Hardaway and his brother Derek. The brothers promised to keep him safe, and they were taking him somewhere safe outside of the city. But that's not what happened. The brothers' involvement came as a shock to their parents. I mean, their parents were a teacher and a computer engineer. Both brothers were honor students who seemed like they were getting ready to go to college. About a mile from where the brothers picked Yummy up from, Craig walked Yummy to an isolated pedestrian tunnel, and that was it. A passerby found the body at approximately 12:22 a.m. on September 1st with 25 caliber slugs to the back of the head. Ironically, the gang that was worried about Yummy snitching, but the people they got to take care of the problem, they're the ones who ended up snitching. There are some eyewitnesses who saw the Hardaway brothers driving off with Yummy about 45 minutes before he was killed. Derek, who was in custody just like 8 hours later, he confessed to his role as the getaway driver, and he fingered Craig as the shooter. Derek later said that he heard 3 shots just before Craig got back into the car. Charged as adults, the Hardaways were convicted of murder, and they were sent to prison on rather long sentences, 60 years for Craig and 45 for Derek. No gang leader was charged, which, I mean, seemingly justifying the strategy of exploiting children, which gangs were notorious for. Derek, however, was released from prison in December 2016, and Craig was released from prison in 2020. So, I know this was kind of a hard one. Thanks for watching, friends. I'll see you next time with another Black Case File. I try to upload 3 to 4 times a week. I keep getting sick. But anyways, keep following the Black Case Files on TikTok and Instagram, and I'll let you know what's uploaded next. See you next time. Bye.